Well, hello, welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, and today this is a replay, well, recap really, of the Tuesday live that we started the Clownfish Drawing with Fire community project, and some people are having an issue with the live, so I thought I would recap it. We discussed how I made my pattern, and I'm showing a quick video of how I drew my pattern inside Photoshop. I have an artist graphic tablet that I draw directly on. You can use a regular tablet, you can use your mouse, and this way I was talking about cutting down a step on making my pattern because I can now print this out on the tracing paper and go directly from the printer to transferring on the wood instead of drawing it yet again. So I'm just showing very quickly how I did that, and then we're going to go right into the burning. I tried to put all of the heat settings that I could think of from the live that I used, and I only used 2 tips for this whole live. I used the large ball tip, which you're seeing here, with oval strokes, changing the speed. If I wanted it darker, I slowed down my speed. If I wanted it lighter, I went quicker. And then I switched over to the 18S small spear shader, both of them Optima pens. And here I lowered my heat setting because I was going to be going further out, that I wanted lighter. So I just went down just a little bit, and here I'm showing you just a slow version so that you can really see the stroke that I'm using. I know it's not as clear, but hey, it was alive. So I'm going through and just going around my lines, and through the whole thing I either use tapping strokes or oval strokes. I tend to side with oval strokes because they're quicker, especially if it's something with a lot of texture. It helps build that texture. And then in the end, you can also use it for gradients to make things a smooth burn. So it's a very versatile stroke and one that I use all of the time. So with the eye, it's kind of hard to see in the reference photo. Right here I show it a little bit better. You can see that there is some tonal differences between where the actual eyeball is versus the skin around the eye. And so I'm trying to just lay that in. Now on the clownfish, there are some bright white highlights, not even highlights, just part of the fish coloring. And so I'm putting in the bright whites so I know where they're at, and I can make sure and not lose them. With this part of the fish where it's dark along the white, I'm actually using a tapping down motion with just the tip, which is why I'm showing the animation. I'm just using the tip and tapping down, trying to break up the line a little bit and to give it some depth. I'll go back and darken it later. This is just to lay it in, and that way I can erase. Now I also, again, the oval strokes. I love these oval strokes. They are so versatile and what you can do. So I'm going to show you a graphic here of just the stroke that I'm doing. It's just the tip and moving in an oval, in a circle. Easiest way to explain. I really didn't do any draw out strokes or long strokes so far for the fish for the live. I just used a lot of ovals to fill it in, get some texture, lay down where the areas are. I'm not fully at the highest level of that burning area, so like right here I did burn it darker when I worked on it a little bit later after the live, and it will go darker still. But right now I'm just kind of at a medium heat for the area that I'm working on, and then blocking it in, erasing, and then I will go back later and darken any other dark areas that need to be darker. This helps to ensure I'm less likely to go too dark and then have to sand to go back to a lighter. If you start right about in the middle of where you think you're going to be and then build up, it might seem like a little bit more work, but if you mess up the area and then have to sand, that's a lot more work. In fact, when I go up to the white stripe, oops, when I go up to the white stripe, I did actually have to pull out some sandpaper to lighten it, and it turns out I'm actually going to have to go darker in that area later. So in the live, I'm just talking about blocking in and going a little bit lighter. I'm talking about the speed of my pen. Right now the video is sped up. I'm not moving that quickly, I promise. But when you do move your pen quicker and just barely touching the board with a very light stroke, it'll always burn lighter, even though I haven't adjusted my heat setting. And then when I go slower, or when you go slower with your pen, that area, it'll burn darker and closer to the setting you're on. And then if you just go at like a regular normal speed, that's the heat setting you'll get. So even though I'm at, I don't know, I didn't see the number I put, around 2.5, 2.5, whatever I had on the screen, that's what I was at, because I'm moving quicker, and this is kind of closer to the way I'm moving. I'm moving quicker, and so the burn is lighter, and I'm going with the direction of the area I'm working in. And what I mean is the fish isn't flat. He's all curvy. In fact, just so we know, we named him Conan during the live. So Conan is curved, so your strokes need to match the curve of your subject. If your subject's flat, then you won't have any curve to your stroke. You'll just be going straight up and down or left or right. But when you're burning on an object that's curved, you have to follow the curve of the object in order to have it feel realistic when you're done. Because the strokes, though you may not see a big difference between tonal values in a stroke, if you're following the direction of your subject, how things lay along it, it will read to the person looking at it. Their eyes will say, oh, okay, that's a round object versus a flat object. And that's what we're trying to go for. At least that's what I'm trying to go for when I'm burning. I'm trying to go for realism. Even if you're doing a different style, it still helps. But for me, I went as realistic as possible. Right now, Conan is in the very ugly early stages, so I have to keep my head up, even though it might look crude. In the end, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it will definitely look better. So through this whole rest of the video, I'm only using the 18S, and I'm mainly either using oval strokes or tapping down. Now during the live, which you can watch the live on replay and hear everything we discuss, plus our personal banter that I have fun with, it makes the lives more enjoyable to, you know, joke around with hubby. But anyway, in the live we discuss lighting as well, because this is obviously in water. In this case, I'm pretty sure this is an aquarium. It's not a sea photo, I'm pretty sure. It's an aquarium, so we have lighting that's reflecting through, I can't say that word. Going through the water. I'm just going to leave it. Going through the water, and so it hits different areas differently. It refracts differently. Haha, got it. And so we have some areas that glow, some areas that don't. On the top of the fish and along the top part of the white, we do have glow, and that is also, I'm pretty sure, because of any UV light or any kind of black light that's on the fish tank. We're going to assume Conan is in a fish tank, and so that makes it glow. We want to keep that glow, and so I'm making sure to not burn any of the areas that I want to glow to really stand out, and that includes on the anemone's arms and also the top of the fish. The fish will get darker as it's further away from light, because anything closer to light is brighter, anything further from light is darker. So we want to make sure, I really want him to glow. That's why I picked this photo. I thought it was a great way for us as a group to practice lighting and contrast, because this photo really exhibits that. So right now I'm just putting in the lighter areas. I'm using my sepia photo in order to see the tonal values. If I need to see detail, maybe what's next to something else, I switch over to the color photo so that I can see the detail. And here I'm tapping in more of the darks, and I just go back and forth. I didn't adjust my pen to go off the line back to the eye. I'm just moving that pen faster. This part of the video is sped up. I am not working that quick, though I wish I could, because I get burning done a lot faster if I could burn this quickly. But anyway, so I'm just darkening it up, and if you notice, it's going to, the area around it is really going to help it stand out as well. So if I go lighter around it, and then not as dark as what I might think it is, it will read darker. Now also remember, this is the lives are very close up, or as close up as I can get the camera on the board, so you're dealing with changing in light and how the board is hitting the camera. And let's face it, Conan right now, he looks even uglier, but he'll look pretty by the time I'm done. Now I'm moving on to the white area. This is actually a shadow that I believe is bouncing off of one of the anemone arms. And here I'm just showing, I'm doing a slow, actually, I'm not doing a slow oval. I'm actually doing a quick oval in order to get more of a smooth, even shading. I'm using just the tip of the pen and going in quick ovals. Again, this isn't slow-mo, so it's not that slow. And we talked about in the live trying to make sure we get these shadows into the white. White is never white. Very seldom. And even high highlights are not absolutely white. Here we do have shadow in our whitish area, so we want to make sure we get that in. And even the part above the fin, if you look on the reference photo, even though it's in shadow, that white line that bumps up against the black is still glowing, just not as brightly. So I won't put any white there, but by not burning and having the burn on either side and having the one side darker, as we see in the photo, it will still read as that's the bright white line without having white added. Now that little spot there on the top of the white is where I had to sand back a little bit. What I did was I used 400 grit sandpaper, going with the direction of the grain, and I discussed always go with the direction of the grain, because if you sand across the grain, when you go to seal, not only will, when you continue to burn, it won't burn correctly or similar to what you want, but when you go to varnish or seal, the scratches across the grain will show up. Now they may be minute, but they will still be there and still take away from your burning. So always, always, always go with the grain. If for some reason you can't go with the grain with the small area you're in, go in the direction you can go and then go back over it with the 400 grit sandpaper in the direction of the grain in order to keep it the same as the rest of the wood and not have those scratches. That's really important. Always go with the grain when sanding your board, whether it's to get it ready for burning or to fix an area. Anytime sandpaper touches it, it goes with the grain. It's the best habit to get into to ensure you have the best results in the end. So the rest of the live was just talking about going back and forth, blocking in, erasing some of the graphite, trying to just get some of the texture of the fish, and that's with the oval circles. I'm trying to think what else we discussed that was wood burning related, and it was really about the light. Next week, this coming Tuesday's live, we are going to work on up close anemone arms so that we can work on getting some of the glow started. And the up close anemone arms are going to have detail, whereas the ones that are further away from the camera, those are more blurred out. You don't see as much of the detail, and that's what helps give depth to the whole photo and our burning, is getting in the areas that are blurry making sure those are blurry, and the areas that are detailed and crisp, getting the detail and crisp. Now on the fin here, you can't see it so much in the photo, but where the indentations from the fin where it folds up, even along the black, those are darker than the top parts that hit the light. Now they get closer in tonal value as you go down the fin and it's further away from the light. So all I'm doing is blocking it in, getting some of those lines in so I can go back later, see the curved lines to show that the fin is curving. I did, after the live, go back with a heat setting of 4, yeah, pretty sure it was 4 or 4.5, and darkened up those areas more, but I still was able to maintain how the folds look without it being very obvious. We don't want them overly obvious because we can't see them. If we can't see them, then they wouldn't show up in our burning. So we're getting close to where the live ended. Once I got this part of the fin blocked in, we pretty much finished up any questions and ended the live for the day. So next week I will try to do this recap again and see if it helps as many people as possible, because that is my main goal. Don't forget, if you're new, to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to get all of our alerts, both live and non-live. Don't forget to hit like and leave me a comment down below. Let me know how much more you would like me to add to the videos. Happy burning, guys. Bye.